Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime, your online voice for reviews of your choice. Welcome to BS Reviews. I've decided to get back into the swing of reviewing movies. And even though I still am going to be doing my anime reviews, I'm not giving that up by any means necessary. I think it's time that I start getting back into reviewing movies because I actually started this account reviewing films. Watchmen by Zack Snyder was actually the very first film I reviewed. And basically, the reason I stopped for a while was because I was reviewing every single film that I saw, and since I go to the movies like every week, I would be having like 2-3 new reviews a week, and it was just getting really monotonous. It was getting ridiculous. Couldn't keep doing that, so I decided to cut back. I'm still going to be doing movie reviews, but I'm going to be a little bit more picky about which films I decide to review. I'm only going to be reviewing like the bigger, more popular ones, or ones that I really feel are worth talking about, or maybe ones that people ask enough questions for me to see about, something like that. So I decided to start my movie reviews with reviewing a film that I just saw a few moments ago. That is the sci-fi action-adventure film I Am Number 4. I Am Number 4 is brought to you by Touchstone Pictures and was directed by DJ Caruso, who also directed Disturbia and Eagle Eye. It was written by Alfred Goh, Miles Miller, and Marty Noxon, based off the novels written by Joby Hughes and James Frey. It stars Alex Pettyfer as John, aka Number 4, Timothy Oliphant as Henry, Teresa Palmer as Number 6, Diana Agron as Sarah, Callan McAuliffe, I don't know if I'm saying that right, as Sam, and Kevin Durand as the Mogadorian commander. The plot of I Am Number 4. I Am Number 4 kind of plays like a mix between Dragon Ball Z in terms of the whole alien superpower aspect and Twilight aspect with the whole teen hunky romance aspect. There's this race of aliens that used to live on this faraway planet, but they decided to come to Earth to hide out after it was eradicated by another race of aliens, an evil vampire kind of tattooed-looking alien race known as the Mogadorians, who seek these aliens' destruction. And they're hunting them on Earth, all 9 of them, which is how many of these aliens that are left thanks to the Mogadorians' extermination on their home planet. The main character, John, is Number 4, and he feels it when any of his alien comrades have been killed or destroyed by the Mogadorians. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 have all been killed, and as he's experiencing these things, he's learning that his powers are growing, and he's fitted with a guardian, Henry, who basically is trying to keep him alive by moving from place to place in order to protect him from the Mogadorians. Unfortunately, John wants a normal life. He wants to actually have friends and fall in love and be with people, but Henry doesn't want this. And when John tries to go into school to get some kind of a normal life, he unfortunately gets noticed by the Mogadorians, and now he's being hunted after them, just as his powers are at their peak of evolving. And now he has to use his newfound alien powers to protect the new friends he's made, like Sam, his best friend, and the girl he's fallen in love with, Sarah, from the Mogadorians. He also has help from other alien members of his race, such as his guardian Henry and the mysterious Number 6. View of the plot. I've never actually heard or read these books. I mean, I'm sure people have heard of them, but this is the first I've heard of until the movie came out. And I gotta say, when I first heard the plot, it sounded extremely fascinating. I love the whole idea of having these aliens coming from this planet, hide on Earth, and having their names be numbers. It's something different, something that's kind of interesting. And I love the fact that their powers are just so unique and just, again, it's very reminiscent of Dragon Ball Z, how they can fly, lift things, and shoot laser beams and stuff like that. It's all really interesting stuff. And it's just one of those stories that I think a lot of people can really get into, especially if you like sci-fi. It's just a really fun plot that I think had a very intricate setup with this whole numbers thing. It makes it a lot more mysterious when you want to learn about who these other aliens are, like who was number 1, 2, and 3, and who the other characters are. It makes it much more interesting of a mix. And I really like the fact that this film kept that mystery, that expansion of this bigger universe alive by giving us continual updates or mentionings of what the other aliens are capable of or where they came from. It was actually brought up very quickly, almost in the beginning of the film, this whole exposition about where these aliens came from, about what they were doing and stuff like that. And there's a lot of mystery that they give you a little sneak peeks at, but they don't exactly show you everything. They keep a lot of things secret. I think it's to keep you guessing, keep you involved in the storyline and wanting to see where this goes if it is popping up to get a sequel, since there are obviously other books. Another thing I liked about this film is that it really embrace the whole science fiction thing, especially towards the later half of the film with the laser guns they have, the creatures they brought in. It was much more than I expected of this film. I expected this film to be like Smallville, with having cute, hunky kids with special powers, but not having any real alien depth or, you know, extensions to their mythology. In a way, I got what I wanted, and a way I didn't, but I'll explain that later. Review of the characters. Alex Pettyfer as John. He's actually a British actor, if I'm not mistaken, and I was originally kind of hoping he would use his accent because he actually sounds much better in that opinion, because in here he tries way too hard to get an American accent, and it doesn't really help his character, nor does it help the fact that his character is kind of flatly written. There really is not much depth to him. It's pretty much the same, I want a normal life, but I'm not normal, I need this, but I have alien bounty hunters after me, I want this, I don't want that, yada yada yada. We get the sob story. And he didn't really do anything different that make me want to see more. I mean, he's good looking, I'll give you that, and I think that this movie was trying to do is give you enough good looking people with a couple special effects. You can make anything look like wow, but he didn't really do it for me. Timothy Olyphant as Henry, I like Timothy Olyphant. I think he's a good actor. I don't think a lot of people appreciate or even recognize him sometimes, and it's a shame because he is a very talented actor. And his character of Henry was actually one of the more interesting characters. I think they could have gone a bit more with him. I think he had much more charisma, and I mean, hell, he should have been the lead in this film if you ask me. I mean, obviously he's too old, but I thought he was, much more standoutish as an actor than Alex Pettyfer as John. The same goes with number 6, who's played by Teresa Palmer. Just by the few scenes you saw of her, in just her outfit and just how she was introduced, this character has so much more badassness and interesting aspects to her personality that you really want to know more about, but you don't really get enough of. I think they really should have explored her character more because there's a lot more mystery left with her, and again, maybe they're leaving it more for the sequel to cover if there is one, but I felt that for the work you're putting to get her in, I think she would have made a much more fascinating central female character, much more better than Diana Argon, played Sarah, who, I'll be honest, is just very dull, very doll-like. She's pretty and cute to look at, but even when she has a character who has some semblance of a good personality quirk that would make her interesting to watch, she really just kind of breezes by. I mean, she's just kind of there, talking and smiling, and she's not really doing much. I mean, she does, but she doesn't act enough. I don't have a freaking clue how to say his name. I'm gonna call him Sam. The person who played Sam, he actually had some interesting lines. He was interesting at times, boring at others. He actually has a pretty good setup for an interesting character, personality, for more stuff you can learn about him. But this character, I think, didn't know who the hell he wanted to be. I think he was kind of supposed to be like the funny best friend. At the other times, he was supposed to be more of a deeper story link into the mythology of the film. But he was just kind of like, eh. Kevin Durand, who played the Mogdorian commander, the head alien, which I did not recognize him at first, was awesome as the head alien. And it's funny because he's not given much dialogue. He's mostly there just for visual impression, but for the little dialogue you get, he actually really sells it. And he actually made the character much more interesting than I thought. And much like all the other good actors in this film, he didn't get enough attention or focus. He was actually one of the few true highlights in terms of the actors and characters that I really want to see more of, but didn't get any. Review the cinematography and the music. The cinematography was okay in the beginning. I mean, it was all basically a lot of teen stuff. Again, it just feels like a lot like Twilight. And it didn't get really good until towards the later half of the film. There was so much intense sci-fi action that once you got into it, it made everything just seem like a wow, 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 wow. Everything you saw was coming at you fast and furious, and it looked much more interesting towards the end. I mean, that's really when all the cool sci-fi alien laser shooting and fight sequences kick up. And had they kept that up, this movie would have looked freaking fantastic. Music kind of got on my nerves after a while. This feels like way too many teen songs were inserted in here. I mean, I know popular music is common in these kind of films, and I actually don't mind it, but when it's overloaded here in such a way, I mean, tone down on the teen music here. It just wasn't needed for this film. Flaws about the film. This film was unfortunately a ballooned version of something you'd see off the CW, complete with bad acting, pretty boy actors and actresses who are pretty much only there to look good, look cute, and suck at everything else. And the really stupid part about this is that the science fiction aspect serves as more of a fallback. It's like the second part of the film. It's like the dropping half of the story that's in their side. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? The science fiction should be the lead. That's what got everyone into this film. That's what made these people aliens. And it focused way too much time on the stupid ass, poorly acted romance that just took up the entire majority of the film. It wasn't until the later half that things not only got interesting, but by that time, the movie was pretty much done, and you had little to go off of because these characters had set up such piss poor personalities in a shitty first half. And it's like, dude, this is not One Tree Hill. Start blowing shit up and do some alien things. I don't care about these romance that they're setting up between this character. It's poorly acted, poorly constructed, poorly written, and just poor in general. And if you had focused at least a little bit more on the science fiction aspects, you might have had a much more fascinating film. But instead, you got an awesome ending half with a very disappointing serving first half. Final wrap up, I Am Number 4 actually had some really good things going for it. It had an interesting storyline. You got some decent actors like Timothy Olyphant, Teresa Palmer, and even though he didn't get enough screen time, I loved Kevin Durand as Mogdoran Commander, and you had some incredible special effects and fight sequences towards the last half. Unfortunately, one small last half percentage of a film is not enough to carry the entire picture, and unfortunately, no one else is here to do the job. All the actors are just here to look pretty and cute and just basically sucked at everything else. The romance wasn't convincing. They shoved too much teen music in your face. And worst of all, the science fiction aspect, what should have been the focal point, was the secondary after point. It was like the afterthought, the past tense. It was the thing that they didn't seem to worry about as much as they should have. And I'll be honest, I came here to see a sci-fi movie, not frickin' Twilight in alien format. It was not a terrible film. The last half did make up for it a bit, but I really can't say this movie was that great, but it wasn't that bad either. So I'll settle for it being okay. Bottom line, I Number 4 got 2.5 stars out of 5. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye for now.